from Flatabo Advancement.
Good evening and welcome, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. My name is Glenn Flatabo, and I wanted to start, actually, with just a few professional words and a couple personal words. For the last 30 years of my life, I own a business that I've worked with several thousand nonprofits. And my job is to help nonprofits raise money and to support their mission. But in the last 4 days, I have not only thought about myself many times about this event, but I've talked to my wife about this event, just personally how significant this is tonight. Personally, how significant this is. And make no mistake about it, as everyone knows, this is a defining moment. We need your help. We need the resources to act immediately when rights are threatened. And I think it's really important for all of us that are not ACLU employees to put our hands together for the team and the leadership and the employees for everything that they are doing. We are so thankful for your passion, your commitment, your dedication, everything that you're doing. So in just a little bit, we're going to have an opportunity to raise our bidding cards. I'd like everyone to just take a moment. You can pass around your bidding cards. The number matches the number on your name tag. After you raise your card and I call off your donation tonight, you can take a moment to enter your donation. There's instructions on the tables to fulfill your pledge. You can do it through a QR code. There's also instructions in the program if a staff member wants to help you towards the end to fulfill your pledge. But make no mistake about it, we are going to make a difference tonight. Our goal together is to see if we can top $50,000 tonight in the room. We're going to get there together. The other quick note, for those of you who are close to the stage, very close to the stage, feel free to move your chairs if you need more space. You can move wherever you want for more space. And it is my pleasure to introduce our first video presentation. Rowan, are you with us tonight? I think she is. Rowan, can you wave to everybody? Let me introduce you. You're going to hear a piece that was put together by Rowan. Rowan is a graduate of St. Francis High School, and her mom, Rachel, was our client in the book ban case against the St. Francis School District. Rowan was a loud voice of dissent. Can we put our hands together and give Rowan a round of applause for speaking her mind, for showing up? Rowan, we're going to play your video right now. It's a spoken word piece.
We stomach the stick of punitive, pass it as a dream of some kind, find liberty in kid jail yard, of which we are card-carrying members. Persimmon slinks in on the breeze in between the slats they're too busy to see, pantomiming the violence of the cop, with the soldier's arm arcing upwards like swan necks over unstill water. How I love the daughters who scrape their knees on summit, opposed staunchly to the refusal of trees' personal names. Refuse this woodless sand and turning yourself away from increasingly silent kitchen tables. This 1,000th illuminated typewriter in the blind eye of poetry. The whole world threatens to do poetry. But what can you do when the house is dropping wood shavings upon your dinner plate? But lead yourselves to dance on the roof, all riotous on timber. The world will not end at silent kitchen tables, nor when the country turns its back away from it.
Friends of the ACLU, please welcome to the stage Executive Director of ACLU Minnesota, Deepinder Mayal.
Be able to stay home, brother.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I see a lot of familiar faces here. I see a lot of new faces. I am so happy that you are here with us today. I'm so happy that we're here in the newly renovated Uptown Theater. Let's hear it for Uptown. Happy to celebrate a rejuvenated Uptown tonight as well. I want to recognize right now our sponsors who, because of their commitments, all gifts tonight are going to go directly to our work. MSP Communications, Ronald DeHarporrte, Ballard Spahr, Bond and Devick Wealth Partners, Fredrikson, Faegre Drinker, Dorsey and Whitney, Maslon, Stinson, Engstrom Lee, Forsgren Fisher, that's right, Nicole, Moen, and Mike Skoglund, Stoel Rives, Moore and Swanson Law, the University of Minnesota Law School, and Humanists MN. Thank you. All right, I also want to recognize some government officials in the room and elected leaders in the room today. I see Attorney General Keith Ellison here. Thank you. I see Zach Stevenson. You know, these are leaders who are on the front lines right now, who are leading unapologetically, who are leading courageously to stand up with strength for our Constitution and our state. Let's hear it for them right now. I also want to thank our board and our staff. Now, the ACLU's got 54 affiliate offices around the country, over 2,000 people on staff. If you had a chance to talk to some of them, you might know this, but these are some of the most intelligent, dedicated, hardworking activists I've had the ability to work with, and I want to hear it for them right now, too. It's really a remarkable team. Okay, so I'm going to be pretty direct with everyone tonight because I think it's really important that we are clear-eyed about the moment that we are in and the moment that our country is facing. And I want to start by showing you a picture. This is a picture of Mohammed Hoke. Mohammed is an international student, and this is a picture of him with his parents. And like many other international students studying in the U.S., in March of this year, he was arrested by ICE. He was targeted because he was using his constitutionally protected political speech. He was arrested when he walked out of his classroom in front of his family. He was held in county jail for 40 days, and he was held unlawfully with no basis for the removal of his visa. While he was in jail, he was denied critical medical care that he needed. And we represented him, along with our partners, the Advocates for Human Rights, the Binger Center for New Americans, and the Fredrikson Law Firm. And I can tell you that the ACLU represented many people like Mohammed across this country. We used our integrated advocacy model, and we jumped into action, and we brought activists, advocates, and attorneys to the fight. We represented people like Mahmoud Khalil at Columbia University. We represented people like Rumeysa Öztürk in Somerville, Massachusetts. These were people who were dragged out of their lives by faceless agents in a national spectacle meant to intimidate, meant to coerce, and meant to silence. A district court judge in Massachusetts recently said of those arrests, ICE goes masked for a single reason: to terrorize Americans. And I show you this picture today on the day we won release from detention for Mohammed, because I want to tell you, Mohammed trusted us, and his parents trusted us and relied on us. And we know right now in this country, millions of people are trusting the ACLU, and I want to tell you, we do not take that lightly. We know that that trust comes with responsibility, and that trust has been earned. And we are very serious about what we are doing to meet that trust. And I'm proud to report that because of our efforts and your support, the ACLU won release for nearly every student that was detained and put a stop to this unjust targeting. Since January, the ACLU has filed over 75 lawsuits against the Trump administration and 81 other legal actions in support of immigrant rights, in support of free speech, LGBTQ+ rights, and election integrity. In Minnesota, we sued the Carver County Jail for illegally holding people for ICE unconstitutionally. Across the state, we've held Know Your Rights sessions and Get Out the Vote efforts that have reached thousands of Minnesotans. And we also sued the St. Francis School District for what was called one of the most draconian book ban policies in the country. And I want to say thank you again to Rowan, because of Rowan's courage. That's right. And the courage of other students and the courage of parents, they were able to use their voice to get books back on the shelves at St. Francis. Thank you. Okay, so the ACLU has been busy. And I know many people in this room have been busy as well. And I know that it can be scary, it can be nerve-wracking when we are seeing a Democratic backslide. And I don't say that lightly, because the experts tell us when there is a Democratic backslide, what comes in its place is an autocratic government, and it happens in steps, and we are seeing many of those steps underway. We know it when we see U.S. military in U.S. cities. We know it when we see censorship of the press. We know it when we see targeting of political opponents, targeting of nonprofits that are the cornerstone of civil society and the rule of law. We know it when we see our neighbors apprehended, illegally held in illegal conditions, and detained and deported without due process. We know it when we see dehumanization, and we know it when we see intensifying political violence. I want to take a moment right now and acknowledge the terrible loss of Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband, John, as well as the attempted murder of Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, in what was a staggering act of political targeting and violence this summer. Melissa was a steadfast champion for many ACLU values, and I know many of us in this room continue to mourn that loss. And I know that the free speech environment that we live in is very complex and controversial. It is very easy to offend in this environment. It's easy to offend when we exercise our rights. It's easy to offend when we talk about exercising our rights. But we need to talk about the First Amendment, and the ACLU's job is to take it on and talk about it directly. So I want to be really clear. Political violence is meant to silence. Political violence is an attack on the First Amendment. Political violence has no place in our discourse, and the attack we saw this summer was an attack on free speech. And a few weeks ago, when Charlie Kirk was killed in another act of violence, that can also be interpreted as an attack on speech. And as disturbing and shocking and chilling as these acts are, one of the clearest signs that our democracy is under threat is how the Trump administration reacted to Kirk's killing. We witnessed an unprecedented and unhinged additional attack on the First Amendment by the government. In the weeks that followed, and I think it's really important that we remember this, we saw the vice president get on TV and say that they would use the IRS to target nonprofits. We saw the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, say that they would start to prosecute hate speech. And we saw the head of the FCC threaten broadcasters and network TVs because they didn't like what a comedian said. And then we saw our president, shortly after, talk to the U.S. military about an enemy within. Folks, this is not a drill. This is very, very, very serious stuff. But I want to make a really, really important distinction right now. Those that censor are terrified of the truth. just like those that target elections are terrified of democracy. You see, all the bluster, all the posturing, everything that they project, that's what they want you to see. That's what they want you to see. Because the other thing we saw that week, and you'll not hear this from them, the other thing we saw was widespread public condemnation for the Trump administration's acts. We saw business leaders, we saw elected leaders, Democrats and Republicans, we saw right-wingers and left-wingers, we saw more than 450 celebrities sign on to an ACLU letter opposing censorship. And what happened? What happened when people united? It's important to remember this. What happened? What did the administration do? They capitulated. They caved in. They backed down. I want you to remember that. I want you to focus on that. I want you to champion that because we are going to need to model that. Because experts tell us that when democracies backslide, they can recover. But it's going to take more than just the activists and the organizers and the lawyers and the courts. It's going to take all of us. It's going to take everyone. It's going to take labor. It's going to take academia. It's going to take the business sector. And when everyone responds, it works. It works. Time and time again, it has shown that it works. It doesn't take more polarization. It takes repolarization. It takes a bigger and broader unification around our core values. And I know that it's really hard to see that path right now. It's really hard to see it. But I'm telling you right now, that's because of part of their tactics, right? It is well documented that the Trump administration is really good at offense, right? They know how to flood the zone with manufactured crises, with threats, with attacks on immigrants, with attacks on minorities, with ridicule, with fear. This is a really old playbook, folks, and they are hitting it pretty hard. But we also know that even the slightest bit of defense can make them implode. We know that the slightest bit of pushback can destabilize them, sometimes in spectacular fashion, and we know why. The truth is they themselves, that administration at the very top, itself is held together in this toxic sludge of coercion and fear. And that's why it's so important for us to keep pressing, keep pushing, and keep up the important work, like the work at the ACLU, to push back for our basic constitutional values and principles. Look, we cannot let them dictate what we see and what they do. The fact is, they want us to see the military parades. They want us to see the masked agents in playgrounds, or the attacks on DEI, or the mass firings. They want us to see law firms and universities and companies caving in. But what they don't want you to see is that the Trump administration has lost 93% of the cases in court when their policies are challenged. What they don't want you to see or hear is when a Trump-appointed judge rules, like they did just a few days ago in a decision rebuking the deployment in Portland, that this is a nation of constitutional law, not martial law. And that's right. And they don't want you to see that executive orders, no matter what they say and what they do, will never rewrite the laws of Congress and will never rewrite the United States Constitution. And what they don't want to see most of all are the faces of the millions of Americans, like the people in this room, the people who are coming together right now and unifying because, and they may not realize it, but I'm going to tell you, they're about to find out that uniformity is not power. Uniformity has never been power. Unity is power. And unity of diverse voices is one of the most powerful forces in American history. I know people are hurting. I know people are nervous. I know people are mourning, but we must not mourn for America. We must fight for America. We cannot capitulate in fear. We must challenge those that use fear. Alice Walker once said, the most common way people give up their power is by thinking that they don't have any. So that's my charge. That's my charge to all of you. We must build power one step at a time, one person at a time, because we have lost a hell of a lot of power out there. And I'm telling you, you got to find something big, find something small, find something in your wheelhouse, in your skill set, and add to this tapestry because we need it. You have to find a way to intervene in this. And when we do it, I'm telling you, we are going to win, because every single time you show up at that school board meeting, every single time you vote, every single time you stand up for that minority group, every single time you center integrity, truth, honesty, humanity, every single time, and every single time you honor the oath of your profession, because we all might be tested someday, you are building the strength of this democracy. You are fighting back, and you are doing what it will take to win. And if we all do it, we will win. We will win. We will win, and we will prevail. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm so inspired to be here with all of you. And what we're going to do tonight, you're going to hear two remarkable stories from two remarkable people. And they are really powerful stories that I think capture this moment, but they also capture the power and beauty of the ACLU that your support has provided. Thank you very much.
Those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest, but, you know, this is people that hate our country, but they will be met with very heavy force.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Friends of the ACLU, please welcome to the stage former Director of Philanthropy for the ACLU Montana and Senior Development Officer of the University of Minnesota Duluth, Luis Isalsas.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you and hear about the work the ACLU of Minnesota has done and will continue to do. My name's Luis Islas. I am the Senior Development Officer for the Swenson College of Science and Engineering at the University of Minnesota Duluth and the former Director of Philanthropy for the ACLU of Montana. As a development director, I travel around the state and country to meet with donors and supporters, just like all of us in this room. Meeting with people who are passionate about making a difference is not only necessary for my job, but a privilege for me. However, I'm here to talk about a terrifying, yet all too common experience that I had on a recent work trip. In March of this year, I flew to Houston to meet with a few University of Minnesota supporters. It was already getting late when my flight landed, so I promptly proceeded with my usual travel routine. I deboarded the plane, I went directly to baggage claim, and picked up my rental car. I loaded my things into the compact rental, started the engine, and was pleasantly surprised that there were less than 500 miles. And then I was off to my hotel, which was only 30 minutes away. As I drove and debated whether I wanted to stop for dinner or just go straight to the hotel and to bed, I saw the throat-catching flash of blue, white, and red. I drove into a Walmart parking lot and assumed I was being pulled over for driving under the speed limit, which didn't worry me. I would quickly explain that this was my first time in Houston, that I was attempting to locate my hotel, and I would go on my way. The officer got to my window and immediately said, "Let me see your license and registration. Where are you headed? How long have you had this car for?" I was prepared for this situation. I'd been pulled over before, and I had worked at the ACLU. I knew how to de-escalate the encounter and calmly assert my rights. I explained to the officer that I was on my way to my hotel. I was in a rental car. I had just picked it up about 20 minutes ago. To prove my statement, I showed him the hotel confirmation, the rental car agreement, and my license. Instead of waving me on my way, the officer proceeded to inform me that he pulled me over because he ran the car's plates and nothing came back, which he found suspicious. He then asked to search the vehicle. I paused, trying to regulate my heartbeat and reminding myself to monitor my tone and be as compliant as possible. I replied, "By all means." Once I was standing in the dark parking lot, I realized that I had left my phone and wallet in the car. I asked, "Can I get my phone so that I can text my wife and let her know where I am?" The officer immediately frowned and said, "No, you can't. Also, I need you to sit in the back of my car while I search your vehicle for my own safety." His abrupt demeanor and denial of my phone was alarming, but once again, in an effort not to escalate the situation and be compliant, I agreed. He shut me in the back of the locked police car, and I watched him conduct his search. A few minutes later, 4 more police cars showed up, and additional officers began to search my vehicle. They scattered my belongings on the ground as they went through my luggage and my work backpack. The car window was rolled down a couple of inches, so I calmly called out to a group of officers, "Can someone please tell me what's going on? I'd like to call my attorney, especially if I'm not under arrest." The officer who had stopped me rushed over, opened the door, and asked me to get out. He said, "I originally stopped you because the license plate was suspicious. But now that I've run your VIN, I've noticed it's bouncing back all over the place, and the only reason it would do this is if the vehicle has been intentionally tampered with. So, I believe you're part of something much worse." The officer then slammed me against the car, busting my lip, handcuffed me. "Where are you coming from?" he yelled. "Why are you here? How long have you had this vehicle?" I was shaking now, tears welling up in my eyes. Once again, I explained I was in Houston for work and asked to call my attorney. As I was locked in the back of the police car, all the officer said was, "Nope." I was stunned. I was shaken. I was horrified. For so long, I believed knowing my rights and completing numerous training courses on how to deal with police encounters had granted me a certain level of safety. Now here I was, my rights blatantly being ignored, and I was terrified. In the next hour, I watched as a K-9 unit arrived. A tow truck lifted the vehicle up so officers could inspect its undercarriage, and I answered the same set of questions for a third time. And then it happened like a bad storyline in a movie. A group of officers came to the squad car and said, "We want to let you know that the K-9 unit found something in the undercarriage. What is your relationship to the bags of white powder we found on the bottom of your car? Did you know this car was made in Mexico? What are your ties to the Mexican cartel? What are you smuggling here? Why are you here? Where are you going? Where did you come from?" As this waking nightmare began to consume me, I thought of my wife and daughter at home in Duluth. We were in the process of closing on a house and didn't have money for bail or attorney fees. There goes everything. Our dreams, my life. Through tears, I tried to answer their questions and asked to speak with my attorney. They just left me in the car. Finally, after what felt like hours, the police captain arrived. He asked me the same set of questions and then simply said, "We are confiscating your vehicle for evidence. Someone will drive you to your hotel." I was in disbelief and in shock. As the officer driving me to the hotel pulled out of the parking lot, I watched the other police officers joking and playing with each other. I was still crying, still shaking, still trying to get the taste of blood out of my mouth. The abrupt ending to this nightmare nauseated me. I couldn't sleep that night, expecting police to burst into my hotel room at any moment to arrest me. But they never did. I never heard from them again. I share this story not just to shed light on a horrific event, but to tell you that traumatic stops like this are happening across the country, including Minnesota. I have the privilege of legal contacts, professional networks, graduate degrees, the ability to speak the language and knowledge of my rights, and this still happened to me. Can you imagine what's happening to those who don't have those privileges? This traumatic event will live with my family and me for the rest of our lives. But we will not allow it to silence us. We will not give up our power. I know now more than ever that our rights still matter. Sharing them, knowing them, and defending them is crucial. There is still power in we, the people. Thank you.
Trump administration planning for a massive expansion of immigration detention facilities as arrests, they continue to rise.
I got rights to talk, bro.
I know right here.
I do.
Get up. I was born and raised here. What about her? I was born and raised here.
Raids like this one outside a Home Depot this summer came under scrutiny. A federal judge found the tactics used were unconstitutional, saying agents were detaining people without probable cause based on their race, accent, and line of work. But yesterday, the Supreme Court saying demographic realities in the region justify the agent's actions.
So turn around.
Okay, let's not. Okay, he's not resisting. He's giving me his phone, okay? He's not, I understand, he's not resisting. Like,
just don't worry about it. You're gonna have to come with us. Don't worry about it.
Sheriff's deputies will be able to serve immigration warrants on undocumented immigrants who are in their jail, regardless of if they've been convicted of the crime they were arrested for.
ICE will come and deport that person, whether or not they have committed what we think is like a serious crime, a grave offense, or not.
The program undermines public safety by diverting resources away from local public safety priorities and breaking down trust between communities and law enforcement.
Friends of the ACLU, please welcome to the stage founding partner of GAD and GAD Law Offices, Sarah Gad.
This is my voice, my weapon of choice. This is life. This is life.
Good evening, everybody. I am so honored to be here with you tonight. My name is Sarah Gad. I'm a lawyer, an advocate, and an unapologetic believer in second chances. I'm also the founding partner of GAD and GAD Law Offices. I've admired the ACLU's work for years, and when staff attorney Ben Casper approached me about a year ago and asked me to join the coalition to end the use of solitary confinement in Minnesota, I did not hesitate. Ending solitary confinement isn't just a professional issue for me. It's a personal one. As a criminal defense attorney, I see my clients thrown in solitary confinement for ridiculous reasons. Before I was an attorney, I lived through solitary confinement. I lived through the horrors of solitary confinement myself, and I can say it's like being buried alive. Before finding my passion for law, I was in medical school, and then I was in a car accident that left me with multiple fractures and chronic pain. My doctors prescribed me opioids, and I never imagined that that decision would lead me down the path of addiction and eventually incarceration. I never thought I would become a convicted felon. I was in medical school. I came from a family where higher education and success was expected, where success was the default. But I learned the hard way that addiction does not discriminate. After my first jail stay, I tried to rebuild my life. But because of a nonviolent possession felony, I couldn't find a job, I couldn't find a place to live, both required for probation. That impossible bind led to a relapse violation and rearrest, and it became a cycle of relapse and recidivism that felt endless, that I could not escape. I became trapped inside a system that is designed to punish, not heal. I felt powerless. And when you feel powerless, it's hard to find a reason to get better. Then, by what I call luck, it came through trauma. I met an attorney named Kathleen Zellner, a renowned civil rights attorney, who filed a lawsuit for me against the Cook County Jail in Chicago after an abusive stay where I was sexually assaulted and beaten and stabbed and thrown in solitary confinement when my family tried to intervene. Kathleen knew my background, and she knew my potential, and she offered me a second chance to work with her on wrongful conviction cases while my own lawsuit was pending. In one of those cases, I discovered a critical medical finding that led to the coroner changing the cause of death from homicide to undetermined, and the county attorney ultimately overturned the conviction. And when that man walked free and embraced his family, something inside me shifted when I watched that happen. I realized that this is what I was meant to do: free people from cages like the one that I was in and help people reclaim their power. And that moment gave me mine back. After 2 years of working with Kathleen, I applied to law school. I was accepted to the University of Chicago Law School. And when I got in, I joined every single criminal justice organization I could find. I graduated, I passed the bar exam, and in 2022, I founded my own law practice. My work is centered on criminal defense, but one case this past year led me into another world, the world of immigration law. My client, Aditya Harsono, came to the United States from Indonesia on a student visa. He earned 2 degrees from Southwest Minnesota State University. While he was studying here, he married a United States citizen named Peyton. And last August, they welcomed their first child, Adelaide Harsono. This past March, plainclothes agents arrested him at his workplace and took him into ICE custody, despite his valid visa, his marriage to a United States citizen, and a pending green card application. He was detained, again, someone stripped of their power. So I called Ben Casper at the ACLU of Minnesota in a panic. And I said, Ben, I know that this is separate from our work to end solitary, but I don't know what's happening here. And he calmly said, Sarah, I know exactly what's happening. He explained ICE's pattern of detaining international students and walked me through the process and showed me what to do. Before the ACLU joined Aditya's team, I had personally drafted a habeas petition, but I could not file it myself because I was not sworn in federal court yet. Ben told me, you wrote this. Your name should be on it. So he helped me organize a private swearing-in ceremony in federal court and personally moved me in himself to watch me get sworn in. And on May 15th, I watched Aditya walk out of ICE custody after nearly 2 months of being detained for no reason and be reunited with his wife and his daughter. That is the power of partnership. That is the power of advocacy. Aditya's case continues, but tonight he's home with his family, and I have a little more room to refocus on my fight to end solitary confinement. And my work and my lived experience has shown me this truth. Our system targets those without power. They target people of color, they target immigrants, and anyone our society has decided can be silenced or ignored. I've seen those systems from both sides, from inside of a jail cell, looking out, and now as an attorney, looking in. And that is why I am so proud to stand beside the ACLU of Minnesota and join them in the fight to end these injustices. I cannot wait to see what we do next, and I cannot wait to hear, loud and clear, the power of our dissent. Thank you.
Can we put our hands together and give both Sarah and Luis one more round of applause? Sarah, amazing job. Thank you for being here tonight. Luis, thank you for sharing your personal and very concerning story, of course. My friends, this is the moment, right now, that we can make the greatest difference. The funds that we raise in the room in the next few minutes will allow us to make a difference in the following ways. Number one is everyone knows we're at a defining moment. And we stand guard every single day of every single hour, but we need the resources to act immediately. We have to seize this moment. We have to be ready to fight back immediately when the calls come and have access to the resources to help with an emergency lawsuit, to step in at any moment to protect an individual or protect a family. Thirdly, is what the staff has shared with me in the last couple of weeks, which I think is super important. Because of the outpouring of support in the community right now, of volunteers and donors that are reaching out to join our efforts, we have to have the staff resources internally so we can communicate with these new donors, we can stay engaged with these new donors, we can retain these new supporters and mobilize them. The funds that we raise in the next few minutes will allow us to do that. My friends, we can do this as a community right now. Let's see together if we can raise $50,000 as a group. Is there anyone tonight willing to start by pledging $10,000 in our efforts? Vance, thank you. Here's our first one at $10,000. We have Vance at $10,000. We're at $10,000. We've raised $10,000 so far. Anyone else at the $10,000 level? You can just grab your card. Anyone else at the $10,000 level? We're at $10,000. Anyone else? Here's a second one at $10,000. Can we give them a round of applause? Number 124 at $10,000. That is $20,000. We're at $20,000. Anyone else at the $10,000 level? At $10,000. We are going to the next level. How about $5,000? Are there any families tonight willing to pledge $5,000? Anyone? Here's our first one. Number 183 at $5,000. Can we give them a round of applause? Number 183 at $5,000. We're at $25,000. Anyone else at the $5,000 level? Here's a second one at $5,000. Can we give her a round of applause? Number 161 at $5,000. Number 161 at $5,000. Anyone else at the $5,000 level? Before we move on, can we give the four families that just pledged $10,000 and $5,000 one more hand for their generosity? Thank you to those folks. We're at $30,000. We are going to the next level. How about $2,500? How many people tonight would consider pledging $2,500? Here's the first one. Number 245 at $2,500. Thank you. Number 245 at $2,500. Number 245. Anyone else at the $2,500 level? At the $2,500 level. We're going to the next level. How about $1,000? How many people tonight would consider pledging? Yes, number 345 at $1,000. Number 370 at $1,000. Number 276 at $1,000. 166 at $1,000. Number 150 at $1,000. Number 376 at $1,000. Number 268 at $1,000. 232 at $1,000. 368 at $1,000. 228 at $1,000. 324 at $1,000. Number 191 at $1,000. Number 264 at $1,000. Number 102 at $1,000. Number 349 at $1,000. 240 at $1,000. Number 256 at $1,000. Number 130 at $1,000. Number 130 at $1,000. Here's another one. Number 288 at $1,000. Number 288 at $1,000. That is significantly more $1,000 pledges than we ever imagined would happen tonight. Can we give all of our $1,000 donors a round of applause? Thank you to our $1,000 donors. We are going to the next level. How about $500? Anyone tonight at the... Richard, thank you. Number 135 at $500. Number 197 at $500. 195. Number 396. Number 353. Number 105 at $500. Number 255 at $500. Number 200. Number 356 at $500. 299. Number 226 at $500. 372. Number, is it 100 or 107? 107 at $500. Number 192 at $500. Number 216. Number 225 at $500. 369 at $500. 388. Number 252. 311. Number 357. Number 270 at $500. Number 107. Number 274. 283. 335. Number 108 at $500. Good job, you guys. Number 137 at $500. Number 137. He's been waving at me for 10 minutes in the balcony. Number 127 at $500, and his spouse pledges. Number 280 at $500. Can we give all of our $500 contributors a round of applause? Thank you to our $500 contributors. We are going to the next level. How about $250? How many people tonight would be? Yes, number 384 at $250. Number 236. Number 330. 258 at $250. 318. Number 143. Number 297. 296. Number 206. Number 164 at $250. 120. Number 308. Number 269. 306. Kevin, it's good to see you. Number 182 at $250. Number 204 at $250. 373 at $250. Number 134. Number 221 at $250. Number 300 at $250. Number 243 at $250. 243. Can we put our hands together for our $250 contributors? Thank you to all of our $250 contributors. And as our final level, how about $100? How many people tonight would be willing to pledge $100? Yes, number 321 at $100. Number 196 at $100. 194 at $100. 304. Number 359. 224. 242. 241. Number 163. 339 at $100. 286 at $100. 383 at $100. Number 111. Number 244. 314. Number 177. Number 188 at $100. 253 at $100. 260. Number 168 at $100. 175 at $100. Number 113 at $100. Number 119. Number 379 at $100. 178 at $100. Number 301 at $100. Number 381. Number 249 at $100. Tonight has been wildly more successful than we ever thought. Can we put our hands together for everyone coming, for your help and your generosity? Haley, I want you to come out and join me when I make this announcement. So, and this is the exact truth, 6 months ago when we were planning this event, we were hoping that this giving moment would raise $50,000 together. And Haley's doing the math. She's going to try to give us a grand total. There's no doubt, obviously, that we raised well past that tonight. But listen to this. During the reception tonight, and the family is in the room, the donor's in the room, and he'd like to be anonymous, but we received another check tonight before the program started for $50,000 in one check. So can we give that family a round of applause? The donor that gave us a $50,000 check tonight. Haley's going to try to give you a grand total if we can. Please welcome our Chief Advancement Officer, Haley Bailey. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. What a remarkable event.
Wow. Good evening, friends. Thank you for that amazing outpouring of generosity. Our total raised tonight, drum roll, we got that going on? $174,000. Sorry, $124,000. So once again, that's a little emotional. Thank you. My name is Haley Bailey. I use she, her pronouns. I am the Chief Advancement Officer for the ACLU of Minnesota, and I am honored to be in this room with all of you tonight. And I feel deeply fortunate that every morning I get to wake up and help protect the civil liberties and civil rights of every person in America, regardless of gender identity, race, religion, political views, or immigration status. Thank you. But I get to fight that fight because of y'all's support. That's what allows me to do it. And if you are looking for more ways to join us in our work, we have 3 upcoming events that I want to talk to you about. On October 9th, which is tomorrow, we are having a virtual back-to-school town hall. And at that town hall meeting, we're going to roll out a new initiative called School Board Watch. And the School Board Watch aims to protect the rights of every student in Minnesota. On October 11th, we are co-hosting our 2nd annual Restore Our Voices event, with community partners in Bemidji at Bemidji State University. And then on, you can clap for that. I'd clap for that. And on October 23rd, we are hosting another virtual town hall with our friends from the DC affiliates, where we are going to be addressing the federal deployment of troops in this nation and what we can do to defend our democracy. Thank you. You can find more information about these events and RSVP or register by going to aclu-mn.org events. Now, one last piece of housekeeping. If you need any support completing the pledge that you made here tonight, and thank you for those pledges, you can go to the reception area where ACLU volunteers and staff will be available to help you finalize those transactions. And also, please enjoy the desserts that are over there. And before I let you go, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for standing with us. Thank you for fighting alongside us. Together, we will prevail. Thank you.
You will not be able to stay home, brother.